Hi all, welcome to the weekly outlook. Boone here from Elliott Wave Pro. I'll start with Bitcoin. Last week I was looking for this. We were down in here. Just get my pen. So we were down here last week. I was looking for this A, B, C up for a running or expanding flat. Now it turned into a running flat. The first target didn't get hit. So this was the first target, second target. I'll put a trade out on TradingView. First target and second target didn't get hit. So I explained that this was quite a risky trade because I was looking for that running or expanding flat. It turned into an expanding flat, a running flat. So I'll remove all this for more downside. So we got, this is your B over here. And now, remove that. So now we've got this running flat. We got a trend line breakthrough here. I mean, if you did take this trade, the buy, here was your flag in here. If you took this break, your stop loss would have been at the low. So you would have still made a little bit, or at least got a break even trade out of it, out of that buy. But now we've got trend line break, and we're getting this here. So we've got a nice regular flat correction. So we get at least an A, B, C down. Hopefully price will go down, break this low here, the low of the internal B wave. So this is the internal A, the internal B, and C for the expanding, running flat, sorry. So now we can get some targets here. So this is where our 100 fib is, down here. Looks like it's the same on the H4 as well. So the 100 fib are lining up on the H4 and the H1. So you can look for this sell here. There is a sell pretty much now. We got a nice break. If you take this sell, you'd have to go down on the lower time frames and take this. You'd have to go down on lower time frames, wait for a little flag in here, and then sell. Your stop loss will be here, just above this high here, and your target is, well, you'd want to take half off, at least half off at the break of this low, and then the second target would be your 100 fib. Like I just showed, the 100 fib is down here for your second target down here. So that will be a nice trade. You could not quite get into it yet. We'd have to go down on the, just go down onto the M15, see what we're getting in here. So we got a break of this low here. So just wait for this little, wait for a little flag or something in here. Break and then jump in. You can either have your stop up here or above this little flag. Depends what time frame you're looking at. But yeah, look for that sell. And then longer term will be the H4. We're looking for this. We're looking at this as just a C down. So as soon as price comes and breaks this low, or comes down to this 100 fib, start looking for the buy. Look for the trend line break, correction or flag, and then look for the longer term buy. The longer term buy should go and break this top. So yeah. Going back to DXY. DXY, the H, if we look at the D1, I'm looking for a correction a similar size as this. Now, this isn't over in time factor. So we're getting something more, excuse me, more complex in here to give us that Z down. If we go to the H4, I was looking for this. Now, this one did break the high here for the C, wave C. We got to move down here, break of the trend line, and then prices come back above the trend line. So this is telling me we're getting a much more complex correction in here. So it's sort of lining up with the daily, this X. So we could get a number of patterns in here. So this could come down like this, and this could be a W, an X, and we get a Y up to complete this D1 wave X. So we could get some sort of a more complex correction in here. And I think that's what we're going to get this week. So it's going to be quite difficult to trade. If we look on the H1, now H1, we have bear divergence in here between this top and this top, this top, this top and this top. We have bearish divergence. We've got a sharp, well, we've got to move down, and now we're getting this. So we'll probably get, this is some sort of a correction in here for an A, B, and a C up. And then we'll more than likely get the larger A, B, C. You can scalp this, have a buy stop just here and scalp it. It's going to be risky to buy. I think the larger impulse is going to be to the downside. I'm more interested in that downside. So we get this flat up in here, some sort of a flat correction in here. We get that trend line break, look for your flag correction, and then look for that larger A, B, C. So that's what we're looking for basically on the majors. If we have a look at AU, now this one here, if we go to daily, I'll start with the daily. So on the daily, we've broken this top here. We've broken this top. So I'm looking for a larger correction. I'm looking for a larger correction. Whatever happens in here, I'm looking for a larger correction before we get more upside. Now, if we go on to the H4, you can see that the H4, I put out trading view idea for the C down. We never got that. It never come down to the 100 fib, and price hasn't even broken below the wave A. So that's telling me we're getting a larger correction in here. So this can be like a W, we get an A, B, C for an X, then we get another 3-wave pattern for a Y. So it can become quite complex, this structure, this corrective structure. I do think overall, I'm only looking for the sells. Because we're at the top on the daily, I'm only looking for sells. Now, if we go to H1, we may be getting, there's a couple of structures we can get in here too, because we've got a reasonably sharp move down here. We've got to move up, and then we get this. So this can be an internal A, B, and a C for an expanding flat in here, and we just drop from here. Or this B wave here is not over, and we get a little flat in here, an A, B, C, and one more up. Now, the B wave can break this top over here, as we know. A B wave can break the top. So we get an A, B, C for a running or expanding flat. Okay, so I think the larger trade, if we get sell setups, I think you'll want to be selling. You're going to get the larger impulse to the downside. It's going to be risky. If you're scalping the longs, you can, but it's going to be riskier to be buying. I'm more interested in the sells. EU, pretty much the same. we again, I was looking for this C down. It never come down and hit the 100 fib. Now, this one did break below the starting point of the ending point of wave A over here. So it did quite break it. But if that was the end of the wave C, it should have just given us an impulse up. Instead, it's giving us choppy movement again. So it's telling me that we're getting a much more complex correction in here. So it's going to be pretty tricky. And same as AU, I'm only looking for the sells. I think the larger correction, the larger impulse will be the sell. If we go to the daily, pretty much the same as a DXY. We got impulse up. So we got a W here, we got an X, and we got an impulse up for the Y. And I'm looking for a correction, well, the same size as this. Now, the same size as this arrow here. So we're still in a complex correction in here before we look for the longer term. We'll be looking for that larger buy. Okay, so but in the meantime, we can only really scalp in here. It's going to be risky because we are in a correction. We're in a larger correction, so it's going to be choppy, and the corrections can become quite complex, as we're seeing right now. We're not getting clear structures. We're getting an A, B, C that's not hitting target, so we're getting a more complex structure. GU, exactly the same. This one did give us a nice structure in here. We got a clear A, B, C in here. But again, this can become more complex. This could be an A, B, C, and we get an A, B, C in here and an A, B, C in here before we get the larger A, B, C. So it can become more complex. Now, when we have a look at this, GU, we do have potential bear hidden divergence here. Now, it's not confirmed. The H4 bear hidden divergence isn't confirmed. Because we haven't broken this top. We haven't broken this top. So we do have the potential of the bear hidden divergence, but it's not confirmed. If we go onto the H1, we have bearish hidden divergence as well, and this one's confirmed. So I'm only really against this high here. Against this high here, we haven't broken this high, and we have the potential of bear hidden divergence here. We got a higher high here on the MACD and a lower high on price action. So we got bearish hidden divergence. This is confirmed as bearish hidden divergence. Now, so I'm really looking at that larger structure as a more complex structure in here as well, because we have that bearish hidden divergence. So I'm sort of looking at it like this. So we get this in here, and this is our B over here. Now, this may not be over. This B wave may not be over. So we get an internal A, B, and we're in a C up. We're still in that C up. So this may not, the bear hidden may not work, but I think the larger impulse is still going to be to the downside. So I'm only really interested in that, in the sell. Even if the bear hidden divergence doesn't play out, I'm still looking for that sell. Now, if we go back to the H1, we're not really getting a setup as such yet. This could be an A, B, C, or an A, more of a sort of a correction in here. So we get an A, B, C, and then we go down for the larger A, B, C. Look for there really isn't a sell set up on this yet. The only way you can really sell it when it's like this is a sell stop here. And if price just keeps on coming up and breaks that high, well, you take that sell stop off, and then you draw your trend line, wait for a trend line break, flag or correction, and then you look for that sell. So at this stage, there really isn't a sell setup on it unless you do place a sell stop. But if you do put that sell stop there, wherever this ends, and say it doesn't break this high, wherever this ends up here, and then tags you, there, you use that as your stop loss. You want to keep your stops tight. So you can use this as your stop loss here as well, or this here. But yeah, if you do get triggered, keep tight stop losses and look for that. Look for the sells. I'm more interested in the sells. And you, exactly the same. It didn't play out to the 100 fib. H4, it didn't play out to the 100 fib. Now, this one didn't break the low either. Now we've got a higher high here. So we don't have the bearish hidden. That's what I mean. On the GU, the bear hidden may not play out because on the NU, we didn't get that bear hidden. It gave us a higher high. So this one here, it didn't come from the low, which is concerning because it would have been nice if it at least broke the low of wave C, at least broke the low of wave A. Now, that never happened, so it becomes risky, and more than likely, we're getting some sort of a complex correction in here. You can look for the buy on this one because we did break that top. So you can look for the buy on this one. Now, it is, if we go to the H1, we did get a break of this top. So we got a break of this top. So if you did, and we did get a little running flat in here. And if you did put a buy stop just above the top here, and you did get triggered in that, you can just put your stop loss at this low here. If you did get triggered in this, and if it goes sideways here for too long, just get out of the trade for break even or take a small hit, because more than likely it will give it'll fall over on you. So just take that into consideration. If you are in the buy here, keep tight stop loss. If it goes sideways for too long, just get out for break even or take a small hit on it and wait for a better setup, basically. UY, this one I am looking for the sell. If we go to H4, we got a nice impulse down, we get a nice correction, and if we go to the H1, we got a trend line break in here. We got a trend line break, and we're getting a correction in here. So I'm looking for, now I don't think this correction's over in here. Like, we got a nice trend line break in here. There is a chance, there is a chance that this B wave isn't over, and we get a, because we don't have any bearish divergence, this could be a WX, Y. This is some sort of a correction in here, and we get a Z up or a wave 5, and then we get the B over here. This B is over here. So we have to be careful. At this stage, it's giving more of a buy setup. But I'm only interested in that sell, because if we, like I said, if we look at the daily or the H4 rather, if you look at the H4, we got that sharp move down. This is all corrective. The larger impulse is going to be to the downside. So to buy, it's going to be risky. I'm more interested in that sell. So what I'd like to see is we get this correction, a little C up, trend line break, bear flag, or correction in here, little correction, and look for that sell. Yeah, we've got to wait for this to be over. If you don't get that trend line break flag, you're not going to be in that trade. And like I said, there is that possibility that this top does get broken for a wave Z. Okay. If that's the case, well, you have to wait for the other trend line break. So we do get a Z up here. You'll have to wait for the trend line break flag correction, and then sell. But I am more interested in the sell. On UY, I'm more interested in the sell. You Sheffy, this one's a little bit messy. Again, I was looking for this on the H4. I was looking for this A, B, C. Now, we never got to the target. We never got to the first target. So we're getting something more complex in here. This one is quite choppy. This could be some sort of so we get something like this, an A, a B, and a C up for an A, B, C before we get more downside to break this low. But again, it's very choppy. I'm only really looking for the buy because on the high time frame, we have an A, B, C down or a WXY down. So this is very choppy in here. So we could get something like this. W, X, Y, X, Z before we get this A, B, C. So it's going to be quite tricky to trade at the moment. But we can trade it on the lower time frames. Now, if you have a look on the H1, we got a low here. We got a lower low. So we can look at this as a flat, expanding flat in here. So you can look for that one up. So you get an A, B, C, and then we get the larger A, B, C. So, you know, if you go down on the lower time frames, you can probably get a few pips out of this and more pips out of the downside before, you know, we more than likely take off. But yeah, it's more for the experienced traders. UCAD. Again, this one did give us a C up. Never hit the target, never hit the 100 fib, but it did give us a high here. We do have bearish divergence. We got a trend line break. So out of this one's looking quite good. This is something that we can actually trade because we do have bearish divergence. We've got 3 up. We've got a trend line break. So we can go down to the H1 and see what we're getting. Sort of got an A, B, C. Probably get some sort of expanding or running flat in here. So this might dribble down for a while and then give us that sharp move up or a wave up like this one. And then look for that sell. Yeah, I think we've got to wait for the sort of structure we get, but we sort of need this wave up here before we can look for that sell. Gold last week, we were in here and I was looking at this A, B, C in here and I said, we'll go up and break this top. If you did take that, you would have had to move it to break even as soon as this top was breaking because as you can see, it just broke that top and come back down. Now, I wasn't looking for the buys. Like I said, we're at a high. I'm looking for the larger correction. If we look at the daily, we're at a high. I'm only looking for the sells. We're getting internal bearish divergence. I don't want to be buying up here. It's too risky. I'm only looking for the sells. So on the H4, we do have internal bearish divergence. And on the H1, we have the bearish divergence. But we're getting a bull flag. So there is no sell set up on it yet. And this can be a flat correction in here as well. Like for an A, this is your B wave. And then we get the C down for a running flat. And this can go and break the top. So you can trade this flag here. If you get the break, you can trade that, look for that buy. But we're getting all that divergence. So I'm more interested in, once this upside is over, I'm more interested in the sell. But you can, like, this is a nice flag here. If you get the break, whatever it does in here, get a nice solid break. However your trading system is, whatever entry you get with your trading system. I'm not going to share my trading systems here, but if you get the break, and you get the buy, go and look to break that top. And then it should be just about over, and I'll be looking for a nice impulse down, correction, or a flag for the sell. I'm more interested in the sell. WTI is becoming, like, we're at a top here. If we look at the H4, we can look at this as a couple of different ways, because we can look at this as a running flat here for the A, B, and we're getting a C up, and this top can be broken with this. But we can see this, and it's very choppy. It's very slow. But this can be an A, B, C for a running flat, and we do go and break that top. So we have to be careful. I'm not really interested in the buy, because we're at a high, and we got all this bearish divergence. So the buys are going to be risky. If this does break the top, we're going to get even more divergence. So I'm really only interested in the sells. If we look on the H1, we got an impulse down. We're getting some sort of a correction in here. So this can be your A. Here's your running flat in here. And we get the A, the B, and we're getting the C up. So this is your B, and this is your C for your B wave. Now, we know in a B wave it can break the top. Whether it does, we'll have to see. But I'm more interested in the sell. Like, I'm more interested in this A, B. We'll get into this sell. Get a little flag in here or something. I'm more interested in looking for that sell. Any sell setup that I get, I'll be taking on gold. Now, I did get this little trade in here, this sell in here, but it come back and took me out at break even. So I didn't take profit. I just got a break even on this little flag here. But yeah, so any sell setup that I get, I'm going to be selling. We're at a high, so I'm looking for the sell. Bitcoin. Oh, sorry, I've already done Bitcoin. Yeah, I've already shown Bitcoin. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis. If you like it, hit the thumbs up for us. The more likes and more subscribers I get, the more in depth I'm going to get in these analysis. So yeah, enjoy your week and keep safe, and I'll see you out there next week. Enjoy.